Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Once a DJ. If you'd like to support the show, then head to onceadj.com/support to find out how you can help. If you'd like to get in touch with any feedback or suggestions, email onceadjpodcast@gmail.com. Once a DJ is produced by the good people at Remote Control. If you'd like to find out more about working with them, head to remote-ctrl.co.uk. Time for the show. Welcome once again to Once a DJ. Today we're talking to San Francisco DJ, producer and remixer Patrick Diaz, aka King Most. Patrick, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking, my man. Thank you.
Excellent. So let's start at the start like we do with all our guests. And how did you get into DJing?
How I got into DJing. I love sharing this story, actually. So my older brother was a DJ. And you know, he was I think he started as like a hip hop DJ, and just being that typical thing where you want to kind of emulate your big brother and his friends. We had turntables in the house. I was already a fan of hip hop music, and I just started practicing on my own, and I gave it a go and I loved it. But I also have to add, aside from my brother being a DJ, in the Bay Area at the time, and still to this day, there was such an amazing array of talented DJs. Like, of course, we have D Styles and Shortcut, but we have all the radio mix master DJs, and I guess I would put them on the same level as like other famed mix show DJs that you would find in Kiss FM in New York or K-Day in LA. Also, like a crazy amount of mobile DJ crews. Oliver Wang wrote a book about them. A lot of amazing club DJs like Cameron Paul that are putting out Mix It, or kind of like they're kind of those DJ centric kind of record pool kind of compilations. So it was from all directions. And I got to add real quick, is that it's a time where like hip hop was like at such an amazing era. It was like exploding and catching on. And
so what year was this?
This was like 92, 93. So, you know, by the time I was exposed to DJing, like I was already a hip hop head, already had tapes and my older brother's influence. And, you know, like I was probably the only 11-year-old, 12-year-old that was like, do it, take it personal, cause single, I got that. You know, so I was like really kind of like a good couple of years ahead of my peers a little bit. So, I DJ'd, like we said at the top of the combo, I DJ'd one of my 7th grade dances. So
amazing. So, so it sounds like there was a lot of kind of turntablism and hip hop DJing that was easily accessible then in the Bay.
When you say turntablism, that's true. But the terms of what the ISP and what we'd see with the X-Men and stuff like that, not so much. But yes, there was battles. There was a lot of kind of like, not quite sound clashes in the reggae style, but these mobile DJ crews setting up who had like the best lights and biggest sound and elaborate setups, those kind of things going on. And then the radio, then the DJs and the mix shows. So it was around, but it definitely, in a sense, yes, there was DJ culture all around.
Yeah, because I mean, I've obviously watched about 100 times Doug Prey's Scratch documentary. Like a Bible to me. So that's all about turntablism. And a lot of the guys that were in that world on the West Coast, it sounded like were in these like mobile DJ crews.
Yeah. Shortcut, who's my boy, and D Styles. And, you know, I got to really shout out DJ Quest and the Space Travelers. We're kind of a little less known. That we all come from mobile DJ stuff. And it's kind of funny going full circle. Like a lot of the gigs I do are now private events, corporate events, weddings, and that's kind of a little bit of that harkening back of mobile DJing as well. So it's still there. They definitely do come from mobile DJ crews for sure, 100%.
And thinking about it, some of those guys that you're talking about, so Shortcut, people like Mixmaster Mike, their sets are really diverse as well, aren't they? So they might be playing metal 1 minute, reggae the next, dubstep the next. Do you think that's from being in that mobile unit sort of era where you would have quite a wide range of music?
I think it's a amalgamation of a couple things. I think, yeah, being like, I interviewed Shortcut one time. He goes, yeah, you had to kind of have a little bit of everything. And I think that's kind of just part of, hip hop DJing from a certain era. Um, Also, in their examples, they travel the world, they play for different audiences.
Yeah.
And I think also when you're like a celebrity DJ or, celebrity relative to the context, you do have a little carte blanche to kind of like, let me kind of throw some couple things in there that, that I don't, that, because I can, that type of thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and also they're music heads too, if I can tell.
So talking about celebrity then, if you were doing the 7th grade dance, were you kind of a celebrity amongst your peers at school?
No, not at well. No, not really. I mean, I think the people I went to school with, we were all just like really cool with each other. Also kids are kids. Like 12-year-olds are terrible.
Let me ask you this then. When did you become, and we might be jumping around your timeline a bit, but
That's fine. That's fine.
when was King Most born?
Oh my God. That name. I would say 2003, 2004. And I used to like lie and tell people, oh, there's a reason why. It just sounded cool when I needed a name. That's all it is. I just come to terms and I embrace. That's the story. There's no story. It just sounded dope. It just sounded cool.
So when you were 12, did you have a DJ name then, or were you just going as Patrick Diaz?
I was just going as Patrick. And yeah, that's all it was. And that gig I did, there's a photo of me and super meatball chubby kid. I want to say I had like one Technique 1200, which is like the standard turntable, and then like some belt drive component thing, and like maybe a crate at best of records. And I didn't kill it. Like, let's be real. I didn't kill it. Like, I didn't have the music for enough records for what my like homies wanted to hear. So I learned, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So how much older than you was your brother?
I'd say about 3 years older. About 3 or 4 years older. And he passed away when I was really young. And
Right.
Towards the end of his life, he was DJing, but he got more into like house music, like different types of house. And at the time, I was like, I think like most hip hop heads of our era, we weren't really trying to like hear or learn about house music. And the joke's on us. Like, we probably listen to more house or dance music than hip hop at this point. I was super into underground hip hop. Like, I was going to this record store in Daly City called Q's Records and buying like the first pressings of like Jig Masters and the very first pressings of like Fondlem Records. Like, early, I was super on that stuff. Like records that I see that now go for like, $80 to a couple $100. Like, oh, I have that. I was really on it. And that's because the people ordering them were like heads. I was all about the underground hip hop, scratch tapes, recording freestyles off mix shows. And he was into like dance music. So we kind of separated musically, but he would occasionally like steal some of my records, like East Flatbush Project, the hot indie joint that kind of crossed over. He would take that from my crates and somehow make it work and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say Patrick Diaz would be a really good like house DJ name.
yeah, like Roger Sanchez,
exactly,
back to back with Patrick Diaz at Boiler Room.
Yeah, it works. I'm buying a ticket now.
Oh, there you go.
So when you were young and doing it, did you have other people your age that you were doing this with, or was it very much like a solo passion?
I would say mostly solo, but I had a homie in high school. He was into scratching, so I would come over. I would go to his house. He'd give me a haircut, and we'd watch Exercise by X-Men or the latest DMC battle video. He was like my one buddy. And then when we went to college, he went to like a nice, really great school, and I didn't go to college until much years later. I just super got into like music and discovered the internet, and like I was trading with people all over the world, like DJ videos, mixtapes, scratch tapes. So when he would come back on break, I would show him like, yo, I got this crazy Mixmaster Mike video of him like just practicing in his house, and we would just watch that while he gives me a fade and stuff. So that was basically it. I didn't really find like homies until much later, and they were more like to this day more friends that we happen to are both into records or production or music. You know, we're friends first, and then the music thing is second. I'm lucky like that. So yeah.
Yeah, because it can be a difficult one to find people because even just in hip hop, for example, your lane can be so specific potentially
Hmm.
that you might be like, you know, you might have another mate that's into hip hop, but then what you get excited about getting, they might not quite get that same excitement about that same thing. So it
Hmm.
is hard to find sometimes that connection, I think.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, that's a great question because I have one of my best friends now. We met because we're just from that same era. We all like DJing and record collecting, and we had the same kind of political mindset and the same sense of humor. So it gets like music was a connecting thing, the initial connection. But again, now it's like, yeah, again, I think, oh yeah, my best friend. Oh yeah, we met via DJing, but it's the music is kind of just secondary. But yeah, I think also I was a club rat the second I can get into clubs. So I, to this day, a lot of people that I still hang out with are people I've known for a long time, and they are DJing, but we're part of like a more of a communal scene that we support one another. Um, we're not in a crew, but we DJ a lot together. Oh, we'll go to each other's parties, or we'll go kick it outside the club and have food, or stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, because you've just hit on something really interesting that we've not really covered is political mindset,
Hmm.
and that tends to be something that traditionally I think is pretty linked to music taste.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the kind of messages that you represent in and that you believe in.
Hmm.
And I wonder if that's going to change now that these kind of tribes are diminishing now that people are getting the music from absolutely everywhere and they're listening to all sorts of different things. I wonder if it'll be harder to find those people with those same values beyond the music.
Um, I think it's interesting. I think you and I are obviously from different places. So I think the little I do know about UK dance music and DJ culture, and what I little I do know about UK politics, it's probably there's some similarities and probably some differences as well. And I have to remember that I live in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and we're very progressive
Yeah.
sometimes. So certain things or certain events or spaces that are seen as very like progressive to us is like just normal, you know.
Yeah.
But I still like cherish them, especially these past few years. Like we're talking about political mindset. This is more like a social mindset, but I throw a party once a month called Love Supreme, and we get a lot of LGBTQ folks in there. Like we had our monthly last weekend, I think, and it's one of the very first, not very first, but one of the few times I've seen openly gay men be at a party dancing with one another where there's like straight people and there's bi people. And it's not like we went out for that, try to construct that party. And, I think all three of us identify as straight that throw the party. But again, being in San Francisco is just part of the kind of reality that exists that we're just more open minded in on
Yeah.
terms of spaces. At the same time, though, there's still tons of discrimination, racism, classism, and gentrification that happens. I can't paint SF this perfect spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could, I always think about the social and political construct in music and DJing and spaces a lot. So yeah.
Yeah. Hip hop's a really tricky one, isn't it? Because a lot of stuff, a lot of older stuff, you know, particularly,
It's cringy.
yeah. I
Yeah,
was struggling
yeah.
to find the words, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
man.
it's quite cancelable.
I mean, yeah, countable is one way to say it, but I think it just aged. The times are different. Like
Yeah.
I very much struggle with like the musical moral compass, but at the same time, I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm at a point where, like, for example, Cool G Rap's 456. Love that record. I think that's to me like the unofficial sequel to Illmatic. Nas is on the cover, same label. Cool G Rap it was a mentor to him. I can go on and on, but he says the F word a lot, and that is super fucking cringy to
Yeah.
So but you can also say like, well, what about misogyny? It's like, oh, so
Mm.
again, there's a lot of terrible things in music, especially the music that has been a center of my life. But you got to take it. I think everyone has a line, as long as you have some type of line. And it could really, it could be maddening trying to make sense of it all. You know, my boy, he played Chris Brown last night. I'm like, why?
Oh,
You know, I know, but a bunch of women of color were like, this is my song. So it's like, oh shit. So you got, I don't know.
yeah, it's
It's a
so
hard one.
difficult. It's so
Yeah.
difficult. That's a massive conversation in itself.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just going back to your timeline, then,
hmm
how did you evolve from that first gig? Then,
I think I didn't have another gig really until I was 21 or 21 to get into clubs. That's the age limit here in the
oh
States.
right,
So I just kept just DJing in my bedroom. I think I ended up making, no, oh shit. Yo, I remember this. This is funny. Okay. If we're following the timeline, I was probably 19 or 20. Do you remember this hip hop crew? They're really dope for what they did. They were called Anacon. Do you remember them or know their name?
Anticon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, so I befriended some of those dudes when they moved to the Bay Area. So there was this place called Rico's Loft. It was 2 stories. The top is where they would perform, and they would have like kind of that more like abstract left field hip hop groups perform, including themselves. And downstairs was just like a dance party. So I would I would show up at 8 o'clock, sneak in through the back of the pizza place through like the back door, and then set up the turntables and DJ with everyone there. And it was so weird because upstairs they'd bring out like, they had Slug from Atmosphere do his first ever non Minnesota show, and it was insane. And I'm downstairs playing like Dr. Dre and Biz Markie and like part and like dance hall. It was such like, and so yeah, that went on for a couple years, and yeah, I was totally underage. That was probably the first gigs I do remember. Then after that, started DJing just like random bars, and then I really caught a little bit of a stride when I started working with another friend that we could talk about in a second. But kind of dormant. But then I put out a mixtape at some point that had, I asked the Anacon guys to freestyle. That's how I became friends. I got my first DJ gigs, made a lot of real life friends from that. And I was selling mixtapes via the internet a little bit.
yeah.
So yeah, like really early, via the Vinyl Exchange and this thing called ATAC. So yeah, I was kind of doing it still.
So were you marketing them as well? Those tapes.
Yeah, I was. Whatever I thought marketing was at the time, you know, because this is still internet is very nascent. It's still early.
So
So I
what
was,
area are we talking then?
man, like 96 at post high school for me. So
Oh
like
yeah, so very early internet then.
yeah, yeah. So I was sending them to like Herb magazine and they reviewed it and I was like, oh shit, like, yo, I made it. And sent it to other like little hip hop magazines that had mixtape reviews. And I think Vice, the guy that did like a hip hop kind of underground thing, reviewed it or shouted it out. So that was how I was marketing it. But I'd still go to like the local like big music shop and try to sell them, and they would sell. It was really weird. I'd get phone calls like, "We need 10 more." I was like, "Of the tape?" You know, and then you know, so like selling 100 tapes when you're, you know, a child or, you know, or a teenager is like pretty amazing. And I wasn't like a battle DJ. I was just like a regular DJ dude who just, I guess, made a tape that people really liked, you know.
Yeah, it
So
must have
yeah,
been pretty good.
it's not like going back. I'm like, this ain't bad. It was some 4-track madness, and it was like half like mega mix Mr. Dibs meets just like a good hip hop mixtape with a lot of remixes that I made at the time and playing samples, and yeah, it's not bad. So yeah.
I think I remember the first sort of couple of mixes I made. I put so much effort into them, into
Yeah.
layering things,
Yeah.
looping things up, things like that. Really, loads of care and attention to it. And I think in the past, however many years since, I've not put anywhere near that level of effort into any mix. But equally, probably overthought the track listing way more.
hmm Well, I was gonna say, I remember the era. I remember when I stopped making intros for the mixtape and just kind of like start the mix. But yeah, I would
Yeah,
spend like I would do the whole mix itself, no matter how elaborate it was. I would still save the intro for the end because I know that would be the thing that would take the longest. Because you're probably do like a million takes, get your cuts just right, and like
yeah.
find the right lines of dialogue that is about, I'm better than you at DJ. So yeah. But if I could say real quick, I really stopped making or recording mixes, putting them out for a long, long, long time. I was just focusing on edits and other stuff. But I'm starting to record myself live because I think it's important to document yourself as an artist and kind of encapsulate an era. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully put out like at least 2 or 3 mixes that I've done live and that are up to my standard of what I think
Yeah.
good clean mixing is. Because that's also kind of hard. But again, it's to kind of document these things because I don't want to like turn back and be like, I really don't exist as a DJ beyond Instagram post and edits that I put. So that's more of an aside. So yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying Once a DJ. I wanted to create a product for the listeners to be able to support the show and for the guests as a token of gratitude for being on. So I've teamed up with Sure Shot Shop to create some Once a DJ 45 RPM adapter clamps. These are my weapon of choice as a 45 adapter as they add stability and grip to aid you in any setup. These are available for £25 each plus flat fee postage from onceadj.bigcartel.com. And if you'd like to see the other models you can buy and also customise, check out sureshotshop.com. If you're an avid collector of timeless music on vinyl but don't have the budget to fork out for those pricey originals, then look no further than Be With Records. From library music to yacht rock, jazz, hip-hop, disco and beyond, Be With lovingly reissue some of the coolest classics. All of their records are carefully remastered and cut to the highest standards to make sure the pressings are of peak audio quality and do justice to the music being released. And something else to note is that they don't do limited runs to drive up resale and hype. If the demand is there, they'll repress as the focus is the music, not the profit margin. They have flat rate shipping and free UK shipping on orders over £60. And if you head to bewithrecords.com and use the discount code ONCEADJ, all one word, you'll get 10% off your order. So head to bewithrecords.com and level up those crates today. Yeah, so with the edits, because I was watching something the other day about Frankie Knuckles and how he basically invented house music with the tape edits that he was doing. And it made me think about that because he wasn't really doing them for anyone else. He was purely doing them for him, for his mixes. So is that how you approach doing re-edits?
Yes and no. I think, well, when I first started the whole calling them redirections, I think I've been doing that for the past 10 years, is because they all, the drive or the desire for what I was doing was kind of nebulous. Like sometimes it was, I'm just going to put drums underneath this classic funk song to give it legs, or give it more like bottom. Or sometimes I'm putting R&B acapella over a different sample or beat that's in key, or I'm replaying everything, or it's if you heard my stuff, it's a combination of different things. But a lot of it was just stuff I heard on those like early, like old school like DJs I heard coming up. Like when I heard these like, on KMEL, our local station out here, they're using the 4-track and they'd fly an acapella over one beat, and of course the beat would change and it would change again. And that was like so amazing. And then hearing like classic New York, like, Ron G blend tapes, or hearing early mixtapes or like the Beat Junkies or DJ O-Dub, and they're doing this thing, or finding white labels, like producers making white label remixes. I was like, oh, I want to do that. So that's a little bit of that in there too, just recontextualizing stuff you like and and piecing it together with other things that and you enjoy too. So, but yeah, sometimes just a tool, like, yo, this is a dope song, it needs drums. Boom.
Yeah, just like fatten it up or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, just on the point of recording your live mixes, I think what I like about when I record a live mix is I don't overthink anything. And also just going through a mixer's circuitry just sounds nicer than just multi-tracking a mix, I find, just because of the analog electronics. But I do just think you just tend to DJ in a different way because you're going through your crate. You've not got the time to overthink it. And I think you can just make a really nice cohesive mix where when you're recording, you can think, oh, but I need to do this thing. You try to think of these tick boxes rather than I'm just doing what the atmosphere needs right now.
Right. I think it's a different set of muscles that you're using because you're relying on just your preparedness, you reading the room, the time of the room, what equipment it is, it's, in the moment. like you're recording, it's live, and if you so it's a totally different skill set. And there's some mixes live that I'll hear back, like, talking about like Larry Levan, like the mixing is like, I, I got to be careful when I say that. It's just not up to standards that I think are good. But you
Yeah.
talk to people there, they're like, this shit was epic. You just had to be in the room.
Mm.
I'm not doing anything like that at all. I'm hitting record. I'm hitting record on like the opening half of the night when not a lot of people are there, so I can have more time to focus and whatnot. But yeah, there's a certain thrill and a certain kind of side that is shown when a DJ records a mix and it's live, because you really get to see like, all right, let's see how you roll. Like no punch ins, live.
Mm.
And I say all that when you do have a good 50 minutes or more, or 40 of a good solid live mix that's up to your standards, that's like the best. And the
Yeah.
inverse, you go back, you listen to it, you're like, oh, I wish I would have waited an extra bar, and can I edit that in post? I don't know. So yeah, it's a mind fuck.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So when you were learning as well with techniques, were you doing things like long blends, or were you more just like scratching things in and shot? Because with hip hop,
Hmm.
unless you've got doubles and you've got an instrumental of something and you've got the vocal version,
Hmm.
it's quite hard to do anything that's kind of a long blend, I find a lot of the time.
Oh, totally long blends. I learned using instrumentals. So I would get the 12-inch, like instrumental, cool. Because that way, I knew I could just practice, and it just, for some reason, my brain, just even now, I don't know why I did this, but my brain goes, oh, if you're trying to learn how to mix the songs, you should use the beat, because that way the raps won't get all over each other.
Mm.
So I remember I would first start, we all scratch on the one, the kick.
Yeah.
I would start on the snare, because like to me that was the most audible part of the beat, and I would just mix the
Yeah.
snares together, and then just listening to like these mix show DJs, these mixtapes, how clean they were. It's like, oh, this is how it should sound. And I learned about 8-bar counts and 16 and things of that nature. So yeah, it was about the long blend. I think it's a West Coast thing. These said something about hip hop. New York guys, it's like dropping the shit, and there's a beauty to that. That's a whole
Yeah.
different. It's not just about throwing it in there. It's about knowing when to throw it in there. West Coast is more long blends. Cleaner the longer the better. At least a certain school, a certain strain of West Coast DJs.
Yeah, I remember you've just brought up. I remember a friend of mine, Beatmaster Ian Wright, shout out. I remember him coming around to my house once to record a mix, and I just couldn't believe how clean his mixing was. So much
Man.
better than mine.
Yeah, it's really, there's nothing tighter to me. Like I love scratching. I practice scratching a lot. I watch tons of people on Instagram. But hearing a nice long blend, and I think in the past, like say 5-6 years, I've started to appreciate in key blends. It's like, ooh, E
Yeah.
flat minor over E flat minor. You know, um, it's amazing, and yeah, it's something special to hear someone mix nice and clean and long. It's like it's advanced, and you got to like tip the hat to that person for sure. So yeah.
Yeah, in key's an interesting one because I think to do in key live is incredible because it's about having your ear, isn't it? Because what you can do now, just for any listeners that aren't kind of up on the technology side, is you can get software now that will tell you what your BPM is, so your beats per minute, and what key your song is in.
Hmm.
And so you can get two records, and without looking at them, theoretically, you can blend them. And
Hmm.
the software now will even sync them up so you don't even need to beat match at times. But still, they can get the keys wrong. There's a load of other factors involved in it where the machine doesn't have every answer. So you've
Hmm.
still got to listen and you've got to use your ears and trust yourself more than the machine. So
Oh
it
yeah.
is to pull it off live is just such a skill. So
Oh,
impressive.
oh yeah, like I couldn't do this in key mixing if I didn't have Serato, because I'm not going to be like, oh, this is E flat minor. Like I've
Yeah.
studied piano theory, I play piano instruments, but yeah, I could tell when something is in key. But if something's like a step off, I'm like, oh, this sounds fine. But yeah, to your point, two things can be in E flat minor, but they're still like harmony, and
Mm.
they could be clashing. But yeah, when you have those moments where you throw it in and you take the bass out, and it's like it's sick. It's like one of the when it happens in the mix at live, for me, it's more enjoyable. I think certain people in the audience, whether they know it or not, they could tell, oh, this is like something really, really good. So yeah.
I think this is why I enjoy making mashups.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like mashups with sort of sung choruses and things, because when you get them in key, and particularly when you get the rhythm and the flow and the feel of the two things is the same, it's just really good. I'll send you one after this that see what you think.
Please.
It's the one I'm the most proud of because it's Area Codes,
Uh-huh.
Ludacris and Nate Dogg with the Azimuth song Doom 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 Boom
Oh,
Boom Boom Boom. Ba-doom, doom. You know the
fuck.
one.
I'm a big fan of Azimuth, the later stuff. And it goes ba 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 ba, like a robot voice, like a little talk box thing. Yeah. It's gonna bother me, but I know that's probably one of the earlier Azimuth songs that I've discovered. But yeah, did you do years ago a Big Daddy Kane or Young and Company?
Yes.
I was thinking, is that the same? Because Wax On could be. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but
yeah,
I was
gonna
play
keep this bit in the edit now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I mean, why not? It's DJ, man. We're all constantly promoting ourselves one way or another. So do it.
Yeah, I just think mashups are so much fun.
Yeah, I love it, dude. I love it.
So when you got in your rhythm and you were DJing out, were you at a point where you could sustain yourself financially quite quickly from DJing, or did you have to do other jobs as well?
No, that's so funny. We talk about jobs and whatnot. So, I mean, I was DJing a lot. I think around 2013, so now about 10 years ago, that's when I moved out of my parents' house, went to college a lot later, and I realized like, I was pulling it off. I was starting to get some weddings and a lot of like private events and like doing gigs for like the SF MoMA and other museums, and tech was really starting to take off in SF. So DJing some random, this little company called Twitter. It's like, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, between that and DJ gigs in clubs, I was able to be financially sound, and I was doing stuff for like brands and Red Bull or Porsche or whatever. So yeah, I've been able to like basically have a pretty cush living for a single dude that no kids, unmarried. Like I can't really complain. And actually this whole life of DJing has like led me to like my first like quote unquote real job. And it's with like Apple Music, working on DJ mixes. So it's kind of like,
nice.
Yeah, I'm still doing the same shit. It just, it's slightly different contexts, I guess. So yeah.
You're on a day rate.
Yeah, day rate. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a lifestyle change, but it's really like, I don't know, again, I'm pretty lucky because, like I said, I went to college and I wanted to kind of give myself options and choices in life and not.
What did you study?
I got a major in communication and a minor in marketing. So
it's like, was it Marley Marl or Prince Paul that did communication as well?
A lot of people do communication. It's a very vague, wide kind of thing to go to. Like I took a lot of philosophy classes and also some public relations and a lot of like semiotics and things like that. Other people use it to get into, PR or whatever. You can go a lot of different ways. So it's one day it's PR classes, another day reading about like German philosophers and things like that. So it was a mixed bag, but I loved it. And I went in a time that I was finally ready and willing to go, not because it was the thing to do at the time. So yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So just going back to the corporates then, how did you kind of first start getting your foot in the door for those?
And I think I swear to God, this is kind of like, if you think about it, it's kind of scary. If you're an artist, you're trying to make it. It's kind of unfair for some. I just randomly knew some friends that my good friend Mary, she was like, hey, I work at Gap. My department's having a little party. And, she was a music kid. She always come to see me at clubs. Like, can you like bring some speakers and DJ our party? I'm like, yeah. Then I would see all her friends, and because they'd come to my club gigs. Okay, cool. And then, oh, hey, someone else from this other department wants to, have you DJ. And then, one person and another person. And, they find out it was like again, it's kind of running this dual kind of path. It's like, oh, we know you as King Most, we know you because of the mixtapes or just being a good club DJ. And you do private events, you do weddings. Like, oh my god, they totally like freak. Like, could we have you? And it kind of went from that. But it multiple times, just all I just happened to know somebody, and they like what I did on professional or on time and things like that. But it's really it's a really scary thing to tell somebody that's trying to get their foot in the door. Like, yo, how can I get corporate gigs? And I'm like, just be good at it. That's such a bullshit, like vague, almost helpless piece of advice. Be good. That doesn't matter. That being good at something does not mean you'll get put on. Unfortunately, it just sometimes it's luck, and it's fucked. So
yeah, it's we've been through this with a few people that being a skillful DJ doesn't guarantee
hell no.
the level of career that you'll have. There's so much more involved.
Yeah, it's something I've been realizing past 5-6 years. It's so many other factors, and it's very easy and at times understandable to get jaded and cynical. But I think it's okay to get jaded and cynical, but I think it's best not to just stay at that point. Like, yo, this sucks. I should have got the gig, or why did they get the gig? Totally normal thing in all artists, no matter any field. But it's kind of like move forward and be productive and try to figure a way to get out of that rut.
Yeah, so, that's a life skill, just generally, isn't it?
That's therapy. That's seeing a therapist. That's therapist Patrick.
Yeah, it's kind of okay when things go wrong. Fine, they'll go wrong. There's no point staying angry about them. Try and learn from it.
Oh, it takes time, man. It takes time, dude.
So with weddings, then, how do you find them? Because I do intend to try and get some kind of just pure wedding DJs on here as well. But I had a period of doing weddings with my friend DJ Hudson, great DJ from the UK, did the Seasons Beatings mixes with J Squared, another good friend. Really, really good DJ. Way better than I am. And we got into this dynamic after a while where I would kind of work the room on the dance floor, be the kind of social one, and I'd do some of the DJing, but he'd do the heavy lifting with the DJing. And what was nice with that, it worked for us because I quite like just chatting to people, and he liked to know he had kind of a barrier for the requests.
Right.
So someone I could concentrate. If people were coming up asking for things that weren't necessarily right, I had the time and the focus to just be a bit kind of softer with them.
Right.
But it doesn't mean you didn't get some that just would go crazy. I remember this one woman just going absolutely off her head because we wouldn't play. Well, we didn't have Bryan Adams' Summer of '69.
Okay.
Yeah, she was like, I tell you something, this dance floor will go crazy if you play that. And I'm like, I can't play it because we've not got it. There wasn't streaming at this point. We were in a reception black spot. There was no downloading it. So yeah, I think weddings certainly in the UK, it depends. We've been lucky with ours because they've always been word of mouth. So people kind of know what you're about.
Right.
But you've still got to have a load of Motown and some pop stuff, but probably not too much. But how have you found it with weddings? Is it people that really know what you're about, or do you have to play a load of stuff that you don't really want to?
I think it's a combination. I'm very fortunate where it's kind of like the whole corporate thing. People find out you do weddings, like holy shit. Like, can we have you? They get excited because they either know me from a radio show, my mixes, my edits. I'm doing an event after we get off the phone for someone that found me on Twitch, seeing me at clubs. And I think this is what's really cool, that people with good taste, they fall in love as well. It's not just it's not just people with like basic ass tastes that fall in love. It's people with flavor. And so when they have tastes, they are so more accommodating and excited to have you as like the guest DJ, not as the work or the help, which is kind of, it's kind of really not really the best philosophy to view other people, but they're excited to have you. And also, you get one thing I've realized is that people of our generation and younger, they've grown up going to see a DJ, whether it's, Purple Disco Machine or Todd Terje or Elo Escobar or Ali Escobar, I'm sorry. or people like me or Questlove, Rich Medina, da 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 da. So they know what a DJ is, and they now have a context. And they remember the crappy weddings when they were kids of some guy in a tuxedo, white gloves, playing like the Macarena.
Yeah.
So it's like they know what they want because they have taste. They've seen DJs, they follow DJs, and they're, in my case, and probably for a lot of other people, they're fans of the actual DJ itself. So it's a combination of things. But I got to add, it's also, at the end of the day, it's still a service. And I think a good wedding DJ is, you're playing for the couple and their friends, but also remember there are people there that, are elderly relatives and they want to feel included. I think it's important to include them, or people that haven't gone out in 5 years because they have kids. This is their one time to cut loose. Yeah, they're not going to want to hear like the coolest, most forward listening release, but it's still a wedding and you're getting paid a good amount, and there's a lot of return work possibility if you kind of have that in mind as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say, because I think sometimes a couple might be really excited to get you, and they really want you to play a certain type of set.
Oh yeah.
But they're the kind of 5% of the people at the wedding that want that, and the other 95% do want some lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Standard sort of function music.
Yeah.
So it is a really hard one to get right, but when you can get the old person dancing to Tribe Called Quest, it's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, and I think also, again, man, this is a day of your of service, and everyone is actually happy to be there, and it's a celebration of joy and love and friendship, and you playing Funky Town it just feels right, as opposed to being like, nah, I'm gonna play Patrice Rouge and Haven't You Heard instead, and they don't even know that stuff. It's just, just understanding the context, and then you get in your nice little suit, you go in your car, you pack up your speakers, and with a pocket full of money, then you can play your, Tony Allen, Donald Byrd records, or your Hit Boy and Nas album. So it's context, and again, you think about the amount of work that we have to do and the amount of money we do get paid and the joy we bring, and it's still DJing. You kind of like, I'll play Bryan Adams' Summer 69. Is that was it? Summer 69?
Yeah.
I don't think I know that song, but I heard it. I'd be like, oh yeah, okay. That one.
Yeah, it was massive over here. Particularly for this one woman.
Okay. Yeah. For sure, man.
Yeah, she was angry.
Well,
thought she was gonna punch me.
Yeah, I would say these situations, if I could add to the listeners and yourself, I always say, like, I don't have that. It's on the list and of what the couple wants, but I don't even say that. I'll say what Jenny and whoever want, the bride, the people getting married. Is, what if I play this kind of? I try to like I'm trying to work with you, meet you in the middle game, just to be like helpful, and they don't know any better. Again, this might be the only time they've seen a DJ in the past decade. So they're not up on stuff. So you got to let them live a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of the soft skills with handling requests. It's something we've not really got into too much with anyone yet on the podcast, but it's a massive, important piece.
You're negotiating with people that, again, have no care or no context of who you are in DJ culture. And that's, if you go into that thinking that, you probably will be a lot more understanding, and you won't get worked up from people when they make requests. And yeah.
So at what point did you start putting out the records?
The 7-inches, I would say the majority of them came out during the pandemic, 2020. And I think, still being a hardcore record collector and just seeing what was out there, seeing that there was a market for it, I was trying to find out ways to put them out more and more. It's just super hard. But at the time, there was that little window where there wasn't like a 12-month, 2-year wait to get something pressed up. So I was able to, a lot of people hit me up at different labels, especially out in Europe, and some in the UK and some here in the United States, asking for certain edits. And I think what I was also making, or a part of my catalog, is stuff that does make sense to have on 7-inch for the buyer of that type of stuff. But yeah, like last year, I think I had 1 release. This year I might have 3. It's so freaking long that it's just like, I don't even bother like trying to even think about anymore, because again, you put something out in February and it won't come out till like the next April. It's like, oh, I forgot about it. I made this. Like, oh yeah. So it's tough, but it's a joy, man. I really wish I could put out more, to be honest. It's not the money, the cost. It's just the time and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So yeah.
So you said sometimes the labels are approaching you for re-edits of specific songs.
Yeah, that's usually how it's been. Like Resense or Man Zimmy does private stock, or I have something come out with a Roop Roy out in the UK. They hit me up. It's like, yo, I really like this. I've always loved it. Would you want this on 7? And I'm like, most of the time I say yeah. It's just a matter of me getting on the ball, studying the files, and they're pressing the whole logistics of the plating and the million and one things that need to get done right. As long as they get done right, then it eventually happens. So, yeah, most people. But I did one myself last year, and I want to do a few more on my own, just because time. Why wait? So yeah.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying Once a DJ. I wanted to create a product for the listeners to be able to support the show, and for the guests as a token of gratitude for being on. So I've teamed up with Sure Shot Shop to create some Once a DJ 45 RPM adapter clamps. These are my weapon of choice as a 45 adapter, as they add stability and grip to aid you in any setup. These are available for £25 each plus flat fee postage from onceadj.bigcartel.com. And if you'd like to see the other models you can buy and also customise, check out sureshotshop.com. If you're an avid collector of timeless music on vinyl, but don't have the budget to fork out for those pricey originals, then look no further than Be With Records. From library music to yacht rock, jazz, hip-hop, disco and beyond, Be With lovingly reissue some of the coolest classics. All of their records are carefully remastered and cut to the highest standards to make sure the pressings are of peak audio quality and do justice to the music being released. And something else to note is that they don't do limited runs to drive up resale and hype. If the demand is there, they'll repress, as the focus is the music, not the profit margin. They have flat rate shipping and free UK shipping on orders over £60. And if you head to bewithrecords.com and use the discount code ONCEADJ, all one word, you'll get 10% off your order. So head to bewithrecords.com and level up those crates today. So you mentioned lockdown there. What was your experience of it, being like a gigging DJ? Did you struggle with it, or was it relief?
No, actually, what's really fucked up? I say this with respect to everyone listening. I kind of miss it, and I have to. I gotta unpack that. So, I had roommates at the time. My boy John Reyes. We used to do a podcast together, and he's also a good friend and an amazing remixer and DJ. He's still on Twitch. Him and I were housemates. So we would just be kicking it. Like, he showed me how to cook. So I learned how to cook, like I couldn't even cut an onion before this, but now I can, cut an onion. I really got into coffee making, and I just got into a hyper run of productivity. I was making like an insane amount of edits, learning a lot about production and music playing. I was streaming, in the context of my own reality of just basically chilling at home, working on music, streaming, fucking around with music and food. Like, it was nice. Financially, I wasn't tripping because, as again, I don't have a crazy overhead in life. I don't have a mortgage or a kid or children or a family. So I was just kind of chilling. And aside from the racial social upheaval and catching a plague and dying, it wasn't that bad. Yeah. So yeah.
Can I just point out for the listeners that if you check out Patrick's Instagram and just see the view out of his house.
That wasn't a house I was living in, though. I lived in a very different home at the time. But,
right.
But yeah, feel free to gladly look at Hey King Most, HeyKingMost on Instagram. You could see, it's a nice view. I'm very lucky where I live. So yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen the pictures with your turntables and the view that you've got whilst you're practicing.
Yeah,
it's pretty special.
Yeah, it is, man. It really is. And now we're about to start spring or spring. I say spring in quotes because San Francisco is like kind of always cold. So I'm looking forward to I might do some streams from the roof. Fingers crossed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Might be tight.
So So how much are you DJing out now then? I appreciate we've gone here and there and everywhere with your timeline, but there's just been so many little sort of jump off points to get into.
Yeah, it happens. It's a combo. I still do. You know, it's so funny. I gotta be. I don't want to jinx myself. It's like pre-pandemic. I was trying to DJ every Friday, every Saturday, even Thursday. Trying to DJ in other cities nearby. Still do weddings. Still do corporate stuff. And I think after it made me realize like what's really important to me. You know, I think one, it was I didn't want to deal with these bar or club or venue people that were still not trying to raise the pay for DJs. I think that's one thing that kind of happened. Pay rose for DJs, and you're still trying to pay us X amount of dollars for all this, or wants to jump through hoops and this and that. And I'm like, yo, dude, I'm not the one. Like, give it to some other DJ that doesn't know their worth or is super hungry, that feels it's okay to shortchange themselves for a spot to get on. So I kind of like chilled off DJing, but I was still getting gigs. I have like 2 successful monthlies in San Francisco. I was just in LA last week. You know, I went to Miami to DJ over the summer. I'm probably going to go back again this year. You know, still getting other gigs, private events and other venues and places that really like me, that pay me well. So I'm really lucky where I don't have to chase as much. So yeah, I still DJ. I DJ last time, DJing today, my DJ tomorrow for an event. So it's good. And I have this like opportunity with the Apple Music that is like super, that's kind of more important now. So, well, that being said, I'm lucky where I say no to things, or I just choose not to worry or stress about or chase gigs or parties that I'm like, I don't need to do that. Like, I want to do it, but it's like, I'm not going to like, you know, play myself to try to get it. And I think that's fortunate. And I'm very self-aware of that at the same time. So, yeah.
Yeah, because one thing that really made me excited to talk to you, aside from the fact that you're a great DJ, was the fact that it seems like, and I know social media can be very deceptive, but it just comes across from your socials that you're someone that still just DJs with a smile on your face. Mm-hmm. You're playing good music. You tend to be in places where it's just a really good atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And it's just the vibe in sort of what you do just seems really good. And first of all, is that an accurate observation? And secondly, has it always been like that? Has that just been consistent? And if so, what's the key?
I like to think I'm pretty happy with the gigs I do, you know, like especially post pandemic. I feel I'm more appreciated now by people than before, or maybe a new audience is finding me for what I do. And I think also like I enjoy pop music, I enjoy club music, I enjoy what the club goers like, and also I'm lucky to kind of find a little space where I can play like, you know, fun, you know, kind of Caribbean global bass edits of this, and play some like LA hip hop, and then, you know, a party where we can close it out with Anita Baker. So you know, I know that's not the norm. So I've been lucky to make it DJing this long easier. But also, yeah, I've kind of try to go with a good spirit about it. It's still a service and it's the weekend, and try to put myself in spaces where it's like, yo, like I want to be here. What's the second part? I'm sorry, your second question, if you could repeat that.
I think you've covered it all.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
It was has it always been like that? But I think, yeah.
No, bro. Hell no. If we could jump back, I call these struggle years. And this was like the era of bottle service and clubs being super racist and not wanting hip hop and R&B. And you had to play like Pitbull, LMFAO, Katy Perry, Calvin Harris, not Calvin Harris, but like really bad dance pop music. And I remember just having to do these gigs and like begging promoters and venues and, hey, just following up again, like that shit. Like that's the struggle era. And I was just trying to find my way, trying to find gig work. I was still doing cool parties on the side and DJing with like, you know, the cool out of town guests, but hell no, that era was like the worst. And it actually gave me it makes me appreciate the years since then and context of enjoying what I get to do now somewhat.
Was that like late 2000s?
Yeah, it was right before 2013, 2012, before music kind of like, you know, before K-Tronada Disclosure, that whole SoundCloud era took over. And it was still like, yeah, when dance pop was like the thing still, yeah, I hated that era. But going back to those songs, I'm like, some of the shit still goes. Some of it's still terrible, but it's not bad. So yeah.
In that era, did you ever kind of think, I just need to stop this and just get a job? Or were you always like, no, DJing's my thing. I'm gonna get through this.
Nah, it was still, I'm still fucking with DJing, because I mean, to be honest, I say it's with, I guess with being humble, like I was good at it. Like even
Mm.
playing bad music, I still was like, yo, like I killed tonight. And that because the whole room is packed and they're going crazy and people are giving you props at the end and the venue wants you there every week. And at the same time, while I was playing the worst clubs or just playing the worst music of the time for someone that loves pop music, I was still doing like cool parties where like, Khan and Amir would come out, or Rich Medina or Spinna or Sarah or, this other more progressive underground artists. I was still doing that at the same time. So, um, yeah, I was traveling a little bit too. So it was a balance. It was a very big split. So yeah.
I think that's something that you just get for a lot of full-time DJs, isn't it? That just some of your gigs are going to be shit, but they're going to pay well.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are going to be what you're really artistically about,
Mm-hmm.
but then they're either more scarce or just the money's less in them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's that kind of rough and smooth.
Yeah, it's like that a lot. But at the end of the day, if you're able to like give yourself a living that is respectable for you and you're happy, it's still like you're just DJing. It's still, I mean,
Yeah.
it's still not a bad way to do it. And I think it's very important for all DJs to have that. Like, I kind of wonder, like, these DJs are playing Vegas or whatever the equivalent of Vegas is around the world, if they kind of have those more like, yeah, the room is smaller, the pay isn't good, but it gives me artistic balance. And I hope they do because I could see it being like emotionally just nurturing and fulfilling, and probably will give you longevity of doing those big events where you're getting paid a lot of money and stuff. So, hopefully everyone has their little like small party they do for fun somewhere. And some, even if it's not a party,
Yeah.
it's some activity, some creative endeavor.
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Um, so something else I wanted to ask you about was sobriety, because I know you've been sober for a few years now,
Right,
and I was
right.
just wondering if that was anything that was related to DJing, or if the alcohol was just something that was too prevalent because of the lifestyle of a DJ.
Yeah, no, I think it was totally DJing, 100%. I think I want to say, if I could, what made me stop, it was just like, I'm also very transparent about seeing a therapist. I've been seeing a therapist for like 5 years now. And, we talk about whatever we were talking about. And she asked, oh, well, is there anything else going on? Because, I guess things were kind of seemed calm at the time. And I told her, like, yeah, I've been going kind of hard lately. And she goes, what does going hard mean? And I was like, oh, like partying hard. She's like, okay. And I just started like sharing what was going on. She was like, just completely just dumbfounded. And and what it was, I was like blacking out like a couple of times a week from drinking and like
Right.
smoke. Yeah, just really sloppy behavior. So I was like, there was nothing going on. I wasn't like, there's nothing going on except, blacking out 4 or 5 times a week and getting home and being like, oh, how'd I get here? And probably
Yeah.
doing a bunch of shit that I wouldn't do sober now. I was like, let me chill out. And I did I was very proper. I went to like AA a couple times, and luckily Alcoholics Anonymous, for people that
Mm.
don't know, like problems, my little bumps in the road were like nothing compared to the people I heard. Like I was dumbfounded hearing the stories. And I was like, I think I went to two or three, and I just at the third one I was like, hey, I just want to let you know I just here for a couple days. I just wanted, or a couple sessions, I'm checking out. And a lot of people in the room were like, I wish I would have done what you did when I was your age. So I was like, okay. And and I realized it's more like a social condition that we get set up for. Like, you're standing around, you know what to do with your hands. A bartender comes up like, come on, let's do a shot, let's drink. So I realized it's not necessary at all. And a lot of my buddies, they're still my friends to this day. At the time, their schedules were like kind of like mine, kind of like loose and free. But they understood that, and they were all supportive. So even my friends I did the hardest partying with, they're all like, yo, I support this. Like, I got you. If you don't want to, like, so I was lucky. And I was seeing my therapist, going to AA. I'd load up my gig bag with like waters and cold brew and other things to drink. And I set myself up for success. And I wasn't shy about it. I was like, yo, I'm just not drinking. And yeah, I'll go in and out with, smoking weed or eating edibles.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I haven't drank in 3 years, and I don't miss it. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky I'm not like fighting the urge or anything, because I have friends that are there. It's a problem. So yeah, I was lucky. And yeah, I think I'm reason why I'm very transparent, open about it, because there are probably people out there that are thinking, oh, can I do it because of my lifestyle, the work I'm in? Like, you can do it. It doesn't have to be this weird sanctimonious, heavy-handed thing that you're on social media about. It's more like just start, and there's resources out there, and anybody that doesn't support you or push you to do better is not your homie. They probably have their own hangups about it. So yeah.
Brilliant. That's such a great note for us to end on.
Thank you.
Or to round it up with. So just before we do, a couple more things. I ask all the guests, is there any one piece of advice you would give to someone starting DJing above all else to get them through it, or maybe to help them to approach it and have a smile on their face like you do?
Yeah, I would say there's a couple things, but one thing I always go to is have standards. Just have standards. And I think the better standards you have, you'll start finding that pushes you along in other little areas of DJing. Like,
do you mean standards as in the gigs you will and won't do, or do you mean standards for how good you should be as a performer?
Everything. If you have standards as an artist of your quality of performance, that's going to reflect in the quality of gigs you want to do, the quality of business that you handle for yourself, the quality of professionalism and presentation, the quality of how you interact with people, everything. Just have standards. The quality of music that you play, all these things. Like, just don't be going out there and just doing it blindly. This takes time, but just have standards, artistic standards, professional standards, all these other things. And if they listen to the podcast, I would say have fun with it. It's still a service. End of the day, it's just DJing. Easier said than done. It's okay to feel shitty about it. It's totally normal. If you didn't feel shitty at some point, that's weird, or you just wait for it. So all those things. But it's a great career, and there's definitely a global family sense to it. Like you and I are talking, so there's a lot of positives, and just focus on that if possible. So yeah.
Awesome. Where can people find you on socials?
I would say the main thing is my Instagram, HEY King. Hey King Most. I'm sorry, HEYKINGMOST. And there is kind of like a launch pad where if I'm doing music or my radio show or gigs in my area or other cities. And if they're not into Instagram, they just want to go straight to the music, shout out to you. Go to my Bandcamp. It's King Most, and SoundCloud King Most. And yeah, the Bandcamp's the edits and original music, and SoundCloud's the mixes and re-edits as well. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's been awesome to chat to you. Thanks so much for your time.
Likewise. Can you send me edits? Can you send me some I want to hear this Azimuth Nate Dogg thing.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Once a DJ. If you'd like to support the show, then head to onceadj.com/support to find out how you can help. If you'd like to get in touch with any feedback or suggestions, email onceadjpodcast@gmail.com. Once a DJ is produced by the good people at Remote Control. If you'd like to find out more about working with them, head to remote-ctrl.co.uk.
That was nice.